Hello guys, good afternoon. Right. You see, I delayed a little bit the discussion of this particular bill, Shanti bill. It's okay because I was, discussing other things. Right. Anyhow, I felt that this is very, very important with respect to nuclear energy in our country and how we are modifying or updating our nuclear law, that too with respect to nuclear liability law. In this context, we have to definitely know about this bill. Okay, that's why I have taken up this one. Right. One more thing you remember, there is debate around nuclear energy. Okay, whether we have to go forward with it or we have to shun nuclear energy because other alternatives have come like solar energy and wind energy. Now, earlier, they were a little bit costlier, they were not affordable. Now, there is a break, we have broke through the technology and they have become cheaper. Okay. And more and more energy is being produced from renewable energy sources like wind and solar. Okay. In this context, many countries have dilemma whether to move forward or go forward with the nuclear energy or we have to abandon it. Some countries have already announced that they are going to gradually shut down their nuclear energy program. If you see countries like UK, Germany, okay, they have announced their plans to gradually shut down their nuclear energy program. Why? The reason is, first thing is the nuclear reactors in which actually energy or power is produced. If something happens to them or some accident happens, it's very dangerous to control, and you know very well exposure to radiation. It's very dangerous. Okay, we have already seen three major nuclear accidents have taken place in the history of humankind. The latest one being in Japan in 2011, the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear reactor got hit with an accident, tsunami. Tsunami hit that nuclear power plant, and the consequences I think you have already read. Okay, this is one problem, the accidents. Second problem is the disposal of nuclear waste. You know, the nuclear material you are inserting it into nuclear reactors, once the fuel is used, the waste will come out, nuclear waste. The problem with this waste is it's a more radioactive than the previous material. It will be releasing more radiation. Okay. So how to dispose it? This is also a big question. Even today, we do not have a sustainable solution to how to safely dispose this nuclear waste. What we are doing it is we are digging deep, holes into the earth, and we are building containers. There we are putting this nuclear waste, refilling the dumps or these holes. That is the only solution right now we have. So because of these two fundamental questions, there was actually always question around nuclear energy, its sustainability, etc. But still, people have gone forward, or many countries have gone forward, established nuclear energies. We also had a three-stage nuclear power generation program, which is devised by father of nuclear energy in our country, Homeji Baba. We are taking it forward. Of course, we are taking the program forward. But always there were questions around this nuclear energy. What if some accident happens? What if an enemy country chooses to attack a nuclear reactor that is there in our country? Okay, so always there were questions around. Some countries have taken an opposite path that they are going to shut down their nuclear programs, especially with respect to producing energy from nuclear sources. But with this bill, it was there was a discussion around the policy makers in India also as to what we have to do with the nuclear energy. Okay, so with this bill, you can say that now it's clear in the mind of the government that it wants to go forward with the nuclear energy. Okay, You see why? In our country, of course, renewable energy sources have become viable. Their prices have come down, especially solar and wind. But still, it take very much time, a lot more time to create this energy generation infrastructure in solar and wind. Okay, that's one thing. And meanwhile, we have to phase out coal, right? We cannot go on using coal. At the time we create sufficient infrastructure or generating capacity in solar and wind. Okay. So you know very well coal is dirty fuel. It releases a lot of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases along with the particles PM 2.5 and PM 10. And because of all these reasons, you need a dependable, little bit cleaner energy source until we completely phase out or until we completely enter into the renewable energy source. According to the plans of the government, even still the government wants to continue nuclear energy along with the renewable energy sources like wind and solar. So it seems for me that the government is nowhere it is thinking about putting a full stop to the nuclear energy production, even in the long run also. So keeping all these things in the mind, you have to believe that the government of India is going to take along this nuclear energy production, and it's not going to end this nuclear energy production just like some Western or European countries are doing. The countries are UK, Germany, etc. Okay, so you have to keep all these things in mind. Okay, having said that, now we will see what is this Shanti Bill. Okay, Shanti Bill 2025. The key takeaways in this document are: the bill consolidates and modernizes the India's existing nuclear legal framework. Second thing, it enables a limited private participation. You see, nuclear energy sector was one of the few segments that were completely reserved for the government of India before the rail, just like railways and some hazardous chemicals. This was the third segment, which was completely reserved for government of India, and private participation was not at all allowed. So this final segment was also allowed for the private participation, though it was limited to few things only. Okay. So, however, private sector was allowed into the nuclear sector under regulatory oversight, but regulation is going to be there on the private sector. Third takeaway is it strengthens statutory regulation by granting statutory recognition to the AERB, Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. Earlier, there was no statutory recognition for this board. Now we have granted, or we are going to grant it. Then, the bill supports India's clean energy transition and the long-term objective of achieving 100 gigawatt of nuclear energy capacity by 2047. So with this, once again, you can conclude that it's going to be there. Nuclear energy production is going to be there in our country for the long period that is going to come. If you see examine some background of about this nuclear energy or what this thing, you see at a time where India is reimagining the future of its energy landscape, a new legislation, this one, Shanti Bill, it has emerged to guide the country toward a more advanced and resilient nuclear ecosystem. The Shanti Bill, sustainable harnessing and advancement of nuclear energy for transforming India, Shanti Bill, it reflects government efforts to modernize the laws that are governing nuclear sector. Okay. You see, moreover, the law or this bill brings various elements of nuclear development under a single and a comprehensive structure. In this way, aiming to create a more streamlined and a future-ready system. Okay. The bill focuses on forward-looking approach and its role in shaping India's long-term energy path. Okay. Uh, Apart from that, as a significant piece of legislation, this bill marks an important movement in country's broader journey towards building a secure and a sustainable energy future. Okay. Then a definition of the nuclear energy is given. You see, two radioactive materials, sorry, radioactive material. In the center of it, there will be a function that is called a nuclear fission. In this, the center of the radioactive material breaks down, and in that process, lot of energy is being released. Actually, we are capturing that energy and producing electricity. Okay, that is what is nuclear energy. You see, it is the nuclear energy is the use of controlled atomic reactions to produce power. At its core, it relies on splitting atoms in a process called as fission or nuclear fission, which releases larger amounts of heat. This heat is then used to generate electricity by boiling the water, generating water vapor, sending it through the pipes, which finally spins the turbine. Then electricity is generated. Okay, and in this process, not many greenhouse gases are actually not used. Okay, globally, if you see, nuclear energy is valued as a clean, dependable source that complements the renewable options like solar and wind. This is nuclear energy. All this process will take place in a nuclear reactor. Okay. If you trace the evolution of nuclear laws in our country, first significant law was the Atomic Energy Act of 1962, which actually replaced the earlier 1948 Act and laid down the foundation for India's nuclear program. I told we have a three-stage nuclear program in our country. So for that foundation was laid by this act. The act empowered the government to regulate atomic energy for peaceful purposes, ensuring at the same time ensuring strict control over research, development, and use of nuclear materials. Then came the series of amendments to this act, amendments in 1986, 1987, 2015. Okay, these three amendments were made. They gradually opened up the sector beyond the central governments, allowing government companies and joint ventures to participate in the nuclear power generation. Okay. Then came the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act of 2010, which introduced actually a non-faulty liability regime, ensuring that in case of a nuclear accident, compensation can be provided to the victims of that nuclear accident. Okay, you see, the law provided clarity on responsibility and public tried to build public trust on the nuclear energy production by prioritizing safety and accountability in nuclear operations. So this was Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act. Okay, when United States of America, came forward and granted us opportunity to get the supply of nuclear, radioactive material. They requested us to make this law, and henceforth we have made this law. So the countries have came together and accepted to supply nuclear material to our country, though we did not sign the treaties like CTBT and the NPT treaties. Okay? So that is the significance of this civil liability for nuclear damage. Then if you see the rationale for this present bill, Shanti bill, okay, you see at this stage of India's energy transition, or energy is taking a transition. We are moving from non-clean fuel energy to cleaner sources of energy, or from non-clean energy sources to cleaner energy sources. That is the energy transition we are making. Okay. In this situation, the country is revisiting the foundations of its nuclear framework also to match the present day needs and future ambitions. Okay. Over the decades, our nuclear program has matured, our technological capabilities are strengthened, sorry, and our clean energy goals have also been expanded. All these developments, they have created need for a modern comprehensive legislation that reflects today's realities and also tomorrow's requirements. Because of that reason, we have to bring in this new law of Shanti Act. Okay. If you see the present scenario or present outlook, India's nuclear energy program has maintained steady role in country's energy or electricity mix, and it is now poised for significant expansion also. So if you see the contribution of nuclear energy, nuclear power consistently accounted for 3% of total energy generation. Remember, this is generation contribution with a share of 3.1% in 2024-25. But you see installed capacity of nuclear energy in the total energy capacity, installed capacity, nuclear energy share is only 1%, installed capacity. But in actual generation, its share is 3%. So the nuclear energy systems are more reliable than the rest of the energy generating sources like thermal power plants, hydroelectric power plants, etc. Okay, they are more reliable. Total installed capacity, if you see, 8.78 gigawatt. Okay, so if how to see the total installed energy capacity of our country, it's a little bit more than 400 gigawatt. Now, it ranges from 2,420 to 450 gigawatt of installed capacity is there. Total energy, installed energy generation capacity in that 8.78 is from the nuclear energy. Then expansion, if you see planned expansion with the indigenous 700 megawatt and 1000 megawatt reactors that are being developed through international cooperation. Countries like USA, Japan, Russia, they are cooperating with us. Okay, very strangely, and that's good for the country. Japan has also accepted to accepted and came forward to help India in building nuclear reactors. Because of all these developments, the capacity in our country is expected to be, expected to rise to 22.38 gigawatt by 2031-32. Means in the coming 5 years. This information is also very, very useful, especially from the prelims point of view. The installed nuclear reactors and nuclear power plant stations, you have to know. Right now, there are 24 operating nuclear reactors are there in our country across 7 locations with a total installed capacity of 8.78 gigawatt. Okay, we will see state-wise. First, the nuclear reactor station is Naroda, that's there in Uttar Pradesh. 2 pressurized heavy water reactors are there with a capacity of 440 megawatt electricity generation capacity. Then Rawatbetta, 6 pressurized heavy water reactors are there. Generation capacity is 1780 megawatt, which is Rawatbetta is in Rajasthan. Then Kakrapada, which is there in Gujarat, 4 once again PHWRs are there. Generation capacity is 1840 megawatt. Tarapur, Maharashtra, 2 boiling water reactors plus 2 pressurized heavy water reactors are there. Generation capacity is 1400 megawatt each. Then you have Kaiga, which is there in Karnataka. 4 pressurized heavy water reactors are there. Generation capacity is 880 megawatt each. Okay, so this capacity mentioned here, it is for each and every individual nuclear reactor. Okay, that you have to remember. Then in Tamil Nadu, we have 2 places. First one is Kudankulam. 2 water energetic reactors are there. Capacity of each one is 2000 megawatt. We are building them with the help of Russians. Okay. Then Kalpakam, we have 2 pressurized heavy water reactors of 440 megawatt capacity each. Okay. Apart from this, many other planned reactors are coming at Jaitapur in Maharashtra, at Kuvada in Andhra Pradesh. Maybe I think it's in Durgapur in West Bengal. And in Madhya Pradesh, also some plans are there to build new nuclear reactors. Okay, right. So these are the locations where presently operated nuclear reactors are located. If you see the long-term mission, the government has announced a nuclear energy mission to achieve 100 gigawatt energy generation by 2047, aligning with India's nuclear energy or clean energy goals. Little bit we will know about this nuclear energy mission also. Actually, the mission was announced in the previous budget, that is the 2025-26 budget, which allocated 20,000 crore rupees to drive design, development, and deployment of small modular reactors, SMRs. Then target, if you see, at least 5 indigenously designed SMRs, okay, small modular reactors, to be operated by 2033, strengthening India's clean energy roadmap. Okay. Then under this program, Baba Atomic Research Center, it has taken up some initiatives. If you see them, 200 megawatt electricity, Bharat small modular reactors, 55 megawatt electricity, small modular reactors. Its code short name is SMR 50. First one's short name is BSMR 200. Then third initiative is up to 5 megawatt thermal high temperature gas cooled reactor for hydrogen generation. These initiatives were taken up by BARC. Okay. Then further, if you go on and analyze why India actually needs to scale its nuclear energy power or nuclear power. You see, India's growing energy demands and clean energy commitments that make a strong case for expanding India's nuclear capacity. Okay. You see, round the clock electricity supply is required, and it is vital for emerging needs such as data centers, production of semiconductors, and advanced industries. Yet, the existing power generating sources, thermal and hydel power sources, they do not provide the flexibility or speed required for such growth. So that's why we need nuclear energy. Okay. So to meet the national target of 100 gigawatt of nuclear energy capacity by 2047 and advance a long-term decarbonization by 2070, we have seen that we have announced to go net zero by 2070 also. So to meet that goal also, a modern legal framework is essential, okay, which enables wider participation and leverages indigenous resources and integrates innovation with safety. Okay. So taken together, these developments highlight the need for a progressive legislation that can repeal the 1962 law and 2010 liability law. Okay, so in this way, the unified legislation allows India to expand the role of nuclear energy in its overall energy mix and encourage innovation, support non-power applications, in medicine, research, food processing also, nuclear materials applications. Okay, they are called as nuclear isotopes. Maybe at the appropriate time, we will discuss about. Okay, to support the non-power applications also, and to contribute to uphold the highest standards of safety, security, safeguards, and liability. To fulfill all these things in this way, the bill serves as a natural progression of India's evolving nuclear journey. Okay, so that's why you require the Shanti bill. Remember, this is a very, very, very important information. You have to remember it. Okay, so if you have to see the important clauses that are there in the Shanti bill, okay, the Shanti bill, it lays down a set of focused provisions to strengthen governance, safety, and institutional mechanisms. If you see the highlights of the bill, it allows for private sector participation. Okay, modern licensing and safety framework is there. Regulation of nuclear radiation users, that is also there. Then it provides or it boosts research and innovation. Then It strengthens nuclear liability and compensation systems also. Statutory empowerment of nuclear regulator is also enhanced security standards and emergency preparedness is also discussed under the bill. Then finally, there is a dispute and redressal mechanism also. Okay. So if you go on and observe the critical areas or important aspects of the bill that are proposed in the bill, first one is private sector participation. The bill permits the private sector corporates to participate in India's nuclear sector, but only in a limited scale. Okay. However, this enables them to undertake plant operations, power generation, equipment manufacturing, and more selected activities such as fabrication of nuclear fuel, including conversion, refining, and enrichment of uranium 235 up to such a threshold value or production, use, and processing or disposal of other prescribed substances. Remember, these are very, very, very important terms. You have to remember. Okay. In addition to that, all activities that involve radiation exposure must obtain the prior safety authorization from the regulatory authority. Okay, regulatory authority we have seen AERB. Okay. Then second key aspect in the bill is activities under exclusive central government. Okay. You see some certain sensitive nuclear fuel cycle activities. They are reserved exclusively for the central government or its wholly owned industries. Okay, these include enrichment or isotopic separation of prescribed or radioactive substances. Okay, then management of spent fuel such as reprocessing, recycling, radionuclide separation, and high-level waste handling. Then the production and upgradation of heavy water and any other facilities or activities specially notified by the government. See, all these sensitive activities are reserved for the central government or its wholly owned companies, okay, or institutions. Then third important aspect is licensing and safety oversight. If you see that the bill proposes to establish a structured system for granting, suspending, or cancelling licenses and safety authorizations for nuclear energy production and use. That is also. Then graded liability structure. This is very, very significant provision in this bill. You see, earlier, the existing civil liability law, 2010 law, that imposes single statutory cap on the operator liability. Okay, the operator who is operating the nuclear reactor. Okay. In contrast to that, this bill, the Shanti bill, establishes a graded liability framework. Means depending on the situation or the responsibility the private operator has, their liability will go up or come down. So it is a graded liability framework. Less responsibility, less liability. More responsibility, more liability. Okay, that is how it works. So under this framework, the limits on operator liability they are mentioned in the schedule of the original bill. Okay, we will see it at the appropriate time, and it varies according to the type and the characteristics of the nuclear installation. This is the significant aspect of this. Okay, then regulator of non-power applications. If you see, the bill provides a regulatory framework for the use of nuclear and radiation technologies in healthcare, agriculture, industry, research, and other peaceful applications. I already mentioned the radioisotopes. They are helpful in treating certain diseases, preserving the food, etc. Then exemption of certain activities. The bill allows for exemption from a license for limited activities such as research, development, and innovation related work. For these activities, you may not require a license. Okay. Then if you see the civil liability framework, the bill introduces a practical and a balanced civil liability regime. Earlier, some countries have argued that whatever the civil liability law we have enacted, It's not practical. It's not practical. That is what they have argued. So this bill tries to introduce a practical and balanced civil liability for nuclear damage. Okay. Then statutory body, the AERB, Atomic Energy Regulatory Board, has been granted formal recognition, and it is going to work as an independent regulator for the nuclear energy and other things also. Then enhanced safety, security, and safeguards are also proposed. The bill improves the systems for safe security, safeguards, and quality assurance, and also for coordinated emergency preparedness and response. Then central government acquisition rights, if you see them, the bill vests exclusive acquisition rights with the central government in specific cases related to nuclear activities. That is also there. Then there is a clause related to dispute resolution mechanism also. The bill enables AERB, Atomic Energy Redressal Advisory Council, to facilitate the redressal of disputes, if at all they are there in between the operators, suppliers, and the government. Okay. Then there is a provision for appellate tribunal also. So the appellate tribunal for electricity, which was set up under the Electricity Act of 2003, that will serve as the appellate authority. So if a party is not happy with the pronouncement that is given by Atomic Energy Redressal Advisory Council, they can approach the tribunal. Okay, and this tribunal is empowered to hear appeals under the provisions of the bill and any additional matters that are notified by the central government. What is the tribunal? The appellate tribunal for electricity. Then the claims commissioner appointment. The bill empowers the central government to appoint claims commissioners for adjudicating compensation claims related to nuclear damage. If at all there is a nuclear accident and damage has, then nuclear damage claims commission that has also been proposed. The bill provides for a dedicated commission to handle cases involving severe nuclear damage and ensure timely adjudication of those applications also. Remember, claims commissioner and the nuclear damage claims commission. Okay. Then safeguards and strategic oversight. If you examine that part, there is a control of sensitive domains, control over sensitive domains. The government retains exclusive authority over the nuclear fuel cycle, waste management, and all security related operations. Then there is strengthening of regulation. The reforms enforce safety standards and enhance India's nuclear governance framework for future expansion. Then protection of strategic autonomy. This also has been ensured. The nuclear energy sector in the bill is structured in a way that does not compromise national security or India's independent decision making. Then coordinated oversight mechanisms are also there. Enhanced safeguards and monitoring systems ensure consistent compliance across all nuclear activities. So in this way, safeguards and strategic oversight has also been incorporated in the bill. So if you have to conclude this discussion, this bill, Shanti bill, it stands as a pivotal or important step in shaping next phase of India's nuclear journey. Okay, that is how you have to understand this Shanti bill. You see, this is a very, very important initiative, or the bill is very, very important. We have the history that UPSC has asked a lot of questions on bills, starting from the Right to Information Act, okay, MGNR, EGA, and many bills before they have become acts. UPSC has taken them and asked questions. So you be ready and be careful with the legislative initiatives like this. Okay, right. This is it for today. See you next time. Until then, you have a very good day. See you next time.